Greetings, programs. This is Wretch, and welcome back to Shadowrun Hong Kong. So we've destroyed our identities, and Caleb Shan is no more, to be replaced with the runner name Shan. I am not a smart troll. But hopefully that'll work out to our advantage, you know? Maybe our enemies will be like, hey, there's a Shadowrunner going around named Shan. Maybe that's the guy. No, couldn't be. No one would be stupid enough to use their real name after they've had their identity destroyed. See? I'm thinking. But we are here in the clinic in Hawaii, and we still need to talk to 10-armed Ambrose here, so let's examine the computer first. It's kind of rude, but this impressive home-built computer is running multiple large memory units and processors. Chilled air from its active cooling system washes across you to the whir fans. A thin fiber optic cable runs across the floor to Ambrose in his chair. On the wall behind the computer are miscellaneous decorations, notes, and photos. Two items stand out, a large dry erase calendar and a corkboard plastered with printouts. News clippings and BBS posts have been printed, carefully snipped and pinned in place. More or less than a year old, they're intermixed with grainy photographs of what looks to be a devastated city, Chicago. The news articles describe an outbreak of a viral version of the Vitis plague in the city, and the subsequent quarantine of a zone containing hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people. The newest items are plain text bulletin board postings, printed out. The very fact that they're from so crude a site is strange. Very, very few Matrix sites are so plain. And we can use our Shadowrunner etiquette and identify the source. These posts are from the Shadowland, a dark Matrix site for Shadowrunners that operate out of the Denver Data Haven. It's the first and foremost of all underground and anonymous systems dedicated to Shadowrunning activity. Captain Chaos, Fast Jack, and other global shadow decking luminaries appear in these posts. Files smuggled out from within the containment zone. They described a cover-up, the detonation of a small nuclear weapon, and the catastrophic release of insect spirits into the city. That's just like what happened to Seattle. The current conditions, as reported by drones and escapees, are horrific. Ooh, that's not good. Now let's look at the calendar. The dry erase calendar is cluttered with a relentless storm of commitments written in cramped, sloppy Hanzi. The most appear to be medical appointments with patients, followed by a busy list of social engagements. Closer scrutiny reveals others. A basic mechanics class on Wednesday nights, basic computer coding Sunday afternoons. Before both of these, inked in red marker is prepare lesson plan, you stupid idiot. Holidays, big combat auto races, birthdays. Every Sunday until 4 p.m. is simply labeled engine. Only 5 hours a night are allocated to sleep, but large swaths of time are conspicuously labeled hangover. So it looks like he teaches as well. So let's talk to 10-armed Ambrose here. This clinic looks like it just hosted a party. Spinally mechanical arms swing from unobtrusive wall mounts, pulling down crepe paper ribbons and scooping food platters and empty beer bottles into biohazard bags. A severely crippled Caucasian male sits in a wheelchair amidst the maelstrom of mess and robotics. He's in his 40s, thick beard, tungsten earrings, beer belly, one cyber eye. Both his legs are missing, one at the hip, the other at the knee. He has only one arm, and only 3 fingers remain on his surviving hand. His face and arm show the scars of reconstructive surgery. He grins widely at you, regarding you with bloodshot eyes. He's clearly hungover. Hey, I'm Ambrose. He shouts cheerfully in English, his words piling together in a loose Midwestern accent. They call me 10-Arms. Welcome to the Kong, fellow UCASian. He chuckles, his chest shaking with mirth. A Waldo arm springs to life and swings over to him. Its menacing metal pincer momentarily sets a cigarette between his lips, just long enough for him to inhale from it. Kindly says you're all right. What can I do for you? You're a doctor? Sure I am. I'm a rigger doctor. A Racter. Ambrose bursts into laughter, then stops and clutches his head. Oh, man, I cannot laugh hard today. Too much partying last night. It hurts. I'm not board certified, but don't worry, I should be. I'm full-on skilled. My work's Yellow Lotus guaranteed and precisely in accordance with World Medical Association standards. Everybody in Hawaii comes to me, because I'm the only option. Ambrose chuckles delightedly. Very well, Racter. Right on. Let's get you tricked out, unless you want to bulk trek, which I'm down for too. Well, what do you do here? What do I do? Tune-ups and engine rebuilds. On your ass. I do it all. First aid, second aid, surgery, cybernetics, obstetrics, I don't know how to pronounce that. Euthanasia, I'm your one-stop shop for health and beauty. Well, maybe not beauty. Okay. You can install me with combat wear? You know it. You got the coin and the essence. I'll trick you out like a bulldozer with ground effects and a turret. I got it all. Bionic limbs, wired reflexes, decker wear, blood filters, synthetic muscle, bone lacing, greased bearings, ground effects, tight bolts. The full range of Chrome Alley services is something that we like to keep beneath the HKPF's radar. Ambrose winks. Okay. Let's see. Let's look at the services. Renraku skill wires. 0.3 essence. Now, I'm not exactly sure if we need to be using this yet, to tell you the truth. Damage plus 4. 1 damage does no AP damage. Pierces up to 1 armor. Uses close combat skill for accuracy. And cyber affinity for critical damage. Now, what I'm curious about is... Okay, we cannot uninstall the cyberware we've been given. It was worth a shot, though. We can get the cross cyber spur, which we're equipped for. And now there's a ton more slots for cyberware. So, at the moment, we're going to go ahead and leave that alone. Your front door could stop a bulldozer. Why so fortified? Are you kidding? Have you any idea how much all the stuff in here is worth? This is a high capital operation, and life's dangerous for a guy missing most of his members, tooling up smugglers and criminals. Let me tell you what, though. Someone busts in here, they're going to be in a world of hurt. Ambrose chuckles evilly. There's a lot more than pipes and wires up in the false ceiling, and I've got Kindly's crew and the Club 88 boys on the panic button. They know which side their bread is chromed on. What, you thinking of trying to knock me over? He laughs uproariously, but it's not clear if he's kidding. Yeah, let's get out of here. Cheers, Shan. Talk to you later. Indeed. Well, now we can go in. So let's see what exactly the rest of... We need to find a weapon dealer. Or something where I can find some armor. There's usually a drug dealer around here, too, if the Cruise Bazaar and Shadowrun Dragonfall was any indication. Let's see here. And try this way. Getting the full Hoi experience. Wait, Spider Shen. I bet he's probably the drug dealer. Despite the wind and rain pelting Hoi, the proprietor of this stall, a monk, judging by their outfit, is unconcerned. The monk's expression is indifferent, though hardly placid or serene. Muscles show as tightly wound metal bands beneath the skin, ready to snap in any direction without warning. What's more, the monk's robes are anything but ordinary. Certainly, silk makes up the base outfit, but is paired with high-impact ballistic armor, heavy-duty boots, and a bandolier of throwing knives. The table in front of you is arrayed with a wide variety of melee weapons, charms, jade pendants, and other mystical accoutrements. Beneath an awning in the rear are rows upon rows of cages, each housing some variety of exotic reptile or insect. These in turn are flanked by jars and boxes of Chinese herbs, incense, powders, and inks. The monk spares you only the shortest of glances as you approach. I am Monk Shen. Most people in Hoi call me Spider Shen on account of the spiders back there. You're not local, not by a long shot. It's definitely a statement, not a question. What tipped you off? Shen smirks crookedly, 2 teeth peeking out from between thin lips. Body language. You're not afraid to look me in the eye, for one. for another, your clothes. Not in fashion here in Hong Kong. Swords, knives, clubs, I sell it all. I make most of these, but if I can't, I've got friends who can. If you need incense or salves for meditation, I make and sell those too. And if your joints ache, I can give you acupuncture. Shen places both palms on the table, leaning over it towards you with a wicked grin. So, what can I show you? Well, let's look at the wares. Always look at the wares. Street monk outfit. I like those. Ah, here's all the stuff that we can get. Okay, so this is definitely... What am I wearing? I need to see what I'm wearing. Actually, I don't think I'm wearing anything. Alright. Well, let's go ahead and get the street monk outfit. And we have Mana Fist. That's what we're currently wearing. Killing Hands. We already have that. And it's cool because it's actually letting us know what we can afford and what we can't. Just minor damage on target on impact with damage of your strength. Okay, let's actually spend some of this money here. Let's get all the things here. Nerve Strike. As much as we can afford, at least. Magic Resistance. Passive. Oh, okay. Then we need... Let's get rid of Nerve Strike and get Magic Resistance, because we definitely need that, because it's a passive ability. Alright. Let's go ahead and confirm that. And we're not going to do any throwing. So we've got our secure adept clothing. Let's go ahead and get the street. And we've got that already equipped. Alright, looks good. Now, I'm getting dressed apparently here in the dark. You're a monk and a weapons dealer? Hey! Shen slowly raises an eyebrow, arms folded. Yeah? Where else would the ancient masters have gotten their legendary swords and spears? Down at the mall? I was at Wudang Mountain for 15 years before coming back to Hong Kong. I've been practicing Xing Yi Quan my entire life. That's how I learned the herbs, as well as the forms. It just so happens I'm good in a forge, too. That's what you buy here is better than most people's. What's Xing Yi Quan? Shen strikes a sudden pose, body low, one fist against a hip while the other is extended in an open palm. The 5-element fist style. Water grows wood, which burns to become fire. Fire creates ashen earth, which condenses into metal, etc. The forms cycle the 5 elements, and opposing elements block each other. A water fist will break a wooden defense, but a water block will extinguish fire. Should one use a water interception on a metal fist, however, water would be smashed apart. Direct, simple, powerful. Not so elegant as Bai Quan or Tai Chi, but much more powerful. Shen pulls a tarp away from a nearby lump. The object beneath the tarp is revealed as the door to an airy City Master armored personnel carrier. It's been caved inward by a massive amount of force, and in the dead center of the door is an indention into which Shen's fist would fit perfectly. Power comes from focus, and focus comes from practice and meditation. Xing Yi Quan produces more power than most other forms of Kung Fu. It applies it in a highly focused way. Indeed. Okay. You sell snakes and spiders too? Shen shakes a finger at you, eyes narrowed. No, they're mine. I can sell you the things I craft with my hands or the things I can do, but the medicines and poisons I make are my secret. You want those? You apprentice to me. In 5 years, maybe I show you how to make a poultice, eh? They're that secret. Of course they're secret. These are what set me apart from the rest of the street dealers in Hawaii. You want cram or bliss? Any 2-bit triad punk can make that for you. But I can realign your ki, set your yin and yang in balance, or set somebody else's out of balance with a few drops. To master my skills, you need to learn for years. It's not just following a formula. You want to learn? You need patience. You try to learn without patience, all you do ape the masters. Shen snaps 2 fingers and points at the cages. You have to understand them to truly learn my art. Otherwise, you never become a master. Might as well get a skill soft. Indeed. Interesting guy. Let's take a look at the threads here. That looks pretty cool. I like that. And I guess I'm wearing the knuckles? Let's see. Indeed I am. Cool. Now, I found out that I actually probably shouldn't have taken the cyberware affinity at character creation, but it's okay. We were all experimenting, trying to figure out what worked and what didn't. Well, now that I found the vendor for all the stuff I need, let's go ahead and head back to the safe boat. Get this show on the road. And now there's a hatch going down. Where does the hatch go? Who are you? Racter. Hi. It's oppressively hot down here, and the air is full of synthetic odors that grab you by the sinuses and refuse to let go. You can smell engine grease and melting plastic, ionized air, and lead solder. A quick scan of the room tells you why. The downstairs tenant has converted this space into a machine shop. Metal fabrication tools and Duraplast extruders line the walls, and a pair of heavy industrial manipulators hang from the ceiling. A man in a black trench coat stands with his back to you, staring at a monitor mounted above a sturdy workbench. He addresses you without turning. I was wondering when we'd meet the new neighbor. His voice is pleasant, cultured. There's a hint of a Russian accent there, but it's buried under layers of nuance. Please stay where you are. I'll be with you in just a moment. Unless you fancy an unplanned trip to Chrome Alley, don't touch anything. There are all manner of tools in here that can take your hand clean off. Thanks for the warning. Don't mention it. I have no interest in seeing anyone hurt in my shop, especially not in my upstairs neighbor. Let's examine the robotic arms mounted to the ceiling. You focus on the enormous manipulator arms that you saw earlier. They're bulky, industrial things, dented from years of heavy use. Each arm has been fitted with at least a dozen different welders, soldering guns, extruders, and metal fabrication tools. You've seen machinery like this in factories before, but they look terribly out of place in the bolt-hole's cramped engine room. Very good. Yes, that's coming along very nicely. Very nicely indeed. He turns towards you, smiling, and the first time you can see his face. He has broadly handsome Slavic features and a chiseled jaw. His eyes are like flecks of ice. So sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. No, Shan. It's no problem. Don't worry about it. You're too kind. Now tell me, what can I do for... His voice trails off as a flash of motion catches his eye. With alarming speed, a sinister-looking drone scuttles out from under the work table. Its movements are surprisingly agile and fluid. The machine rears back menacingly, spreading its forelegs in a clear sign of aggression. The man's smile tilts and his tone goes apologetic. Please, don't mind the drone. He can be territorial, but as long as you remain civil, he will not bite. He extends a hand. Simultaneously, the drone relaxes into a neutral position, lowering its killing legs. Racter, my mechanical counterpart here is called Koshi. A pleasure. His hand is rough and abnormally warm to the touch. He shakes your hand with a solid grip. I'm very pleased to meet you, my friend. In a community such as Hoy, it's important to be on good terms with one's neighbors. Agreed. Speaking of which, I'd like to ask you some questions if you have the time. He glances at the bracer on his forearm. A technical display winks to life, then gutters out. Very well. This morning's casting should still be cooling for a few minutes yet. That's time enough to talk. When you said this morning's casting, what did you mean? Exactly what I said. A casting that I made a new locomotive assembly for Koshi. He gestures at the display above the work table. A biomimetic design, as you can see. This one is inspired by the walking legs of a decapod crustacean, the mangrove crab to be specific. That's fascinating. And will this new leg assembly make your drone more effective? That remains to be seen, but there is more life than combat effectiveness, is there not? By fabricating new components for Koshi, I unlock options, different ways of being. Even the failures, and there have been many, have value in this context. How did you learn to do all this? More training and experience than I cared to mention. He offers you a wry smile. Drone architecture was once my profession, you see. Now it's more of a calling, one that I'm free to pursue now that I have freed myself from the shackles of corporate servitude. Or Kashi, I don't know if it's Kashi or Koshi. Not sure. Is an interesting name for a drone. Yes, I suppose that is. Not many riggers would name their most prized possession after a villain from a fairy tale. A nod to my heritage, I suppose. What was the fairy tale about? A thoroughly unpleasant person. Kashi the Deathless, he was called, and for good reason. His soul was cleverly hidden outside of his body, so he could not be killed so long as it remained intact. Kashi was a villain and a notorious kidnapper of women, but something about him always stuck with me. I suppose that it was the notion of immortality through cleverness that resonated. There was something to be learned from that, I was sure. And so, when it came time to name my beloved creation, it was the first name that came to mind. And is your drone deathless, like its namesake? In a manner of speaking, I suppose that he is. I have redundant copies of every piece of its architecture, and his core programming is stored on disk in a secret location. Should he ever suffer critical damage, I can easily bring him back. I had a plan once to automate the self-repair process. I must confess it was really quite ingenious, but alas, my research was lost. One day, I will reclaim it, and Koshi will become as deathless as the stories claim. But it'll not be today. Are you Russian? I thought I caught a hint of an accent there. He nods. You have a good ear. I'm impressed. Yes, I grew up in Nizhny Novgorod. I am so sorry if I am butchering that. Went to school there, started my career there in the industrial sector. A fairly common story, I'm sure. But I've also traveled a great deal, and in so doing I have absorbed a number of other languages and dialects. Well, if you were born and raised in Russia, what brings you to Hong Kong now? The same thing that attracts many to the free enterprise zone. Opportunity. You yourself are a relevant transplant, are you not? Your Cantonese is heavily accented in the style of many UCAS expats. That isn't a criticism, mind you. It's just a statement of fact. You're right. I'm originally from Seattle. I figured as much. You're lucky to have lived in such a great city. Yeah, Seattle was such a lovely place. One day after my business in Hong Kong is concluded, I'd like to travel there myself and to visit its Renraku ecology. I've heard many impressive things about the SCIRE. The automated system that it employs are rumored to be quite impressive. I'd like to study them someday. Well, you've got some interesting machinery in here. Not the kind of thing that you typically see outside of corporate settings. He smiles. The same could be said of many in Hawaii, I'm sure. This is a smuggler's den, is it not? Our entire economy is based on people having things that they shouldn't. Is there a particular device that interests you out of curiosity? I know that Racter here is one of our party members. But that drone is very interesting. I'm mostly interested in that drone you have there. Koshi? But my friend, you are wrong. You will never find his like in any corporate factory or lab. He is mine, my own creation, from the top of his sensor cluster to the tips of his claws. I designed him, fabricated his components, and built him by hand. I said impressive. He shrugs, no more than anyone else who follows his passions and perfects his craft. Keeping all this machinery running can't be cheap. How can you afford it? Freelance. At the risk of sounding immodest, I've commodified myself rather well. There are always corporations in need of design consultations. You'd be surprised by how lucrative such work can be. And there is always other work that I can turn to in a pinch. Now, this is kind of a rude question, but I'm going to go ahead and ask. You said you used to work for a corp. Whose payroll were you on? He sighs. That is something of a sore subject. My departure was involuntary, you see. I did not part ways with my employer under the best of terms. I'll tell you that I worked for Grishin Aviacorps, but you'll forgive me if I don't want to go into detail. You said that you did other work besides consulting. Care to tell me what kind? He pauses, and for a second something flashes in his eye. Koshi lowers its body into a crouch. A rather personal question, wouldn't you say? Maybe, But then we're having a personal conversation. Indeed we are. But even in personal conversations, certain topics can be held off limits. Truth be told, I don't feel especially comfortable discussing my side work with relative strangers. Suffice it to say that my freelance activities often fall on the illicit end of the spectrum. Tell you what, I'm just gonna guess. You're a Shadowrunner, aren't you? He gives you a shallow nod. I dislike the term, but yes, I run the shadows. What gave me away? Design consultants live in apartments in Victoria Harbor. You're living on a rusted-out boat in Hawaii. There's got to be a reason for that. He shrugs. You are correct, of course. The residents of shadow communities are usually either too poor to live elsewhere or engage in behaviors too illicit to ask or to risk it. I will admit to being in the latter camp. Designing robotics is my passion, but it doesn't always pay the bills. He runs a hand over Koshi's armored chassis, caressing the sculpted metal with his fingertips. My status as a foreigner has proven something of an impediment in this regard. And so, sorry as I may say it, the lion's share of my income flows from Koshi's aptitude for butchery. Such is life, I suppose. We do what we must to do what we love. Seems like everybody on this boat runs the shadows. Why not pull our resources and work together? He purses his lips, considering. A compelling offer. I'm doing quite well on my own, but I must admit there are certain jobs for which I am unsuited. Magic eludes me, and I'm not a decker. My strength comes from material objects in the real world, solid things with mass and heft, things that I can build and operate. Sadly, a great many clients are only interested in teams that display a mastery over the intangible. This group of yours, do you have people who can cover those bases? If so, perhaps we can help each other out. Yes, we have a shaman and a decker, both competent at their jobs. In that case, I'll accept your offer on a provisional basis. We'll do a few runs together and see how we get on. If our association bears fruit, maybe we'll continue. If not, I will bid you my farewell and go back to working alone. How does that sound? Welcome aboard. Of course, this is your boat before I got here. Very good. Excellent. When you receive a job, you know where to find me. My skills and resources are at your disposal. And with that, I'm afraid I must bid you good day. I still have work to do down here. This leg assembly won't clean itself. I'll be in touch. Looking forward to working with you. And I with you. Alright. So we got ourselves a new party member. Let's see what the rest of this place looks like. Not much. That must have been his bedroom. So let's work our way up here. And there he is, Racter the Rigger. Gained at level 2, Biotech 1 and Dodge 1. So, Racter's drone gains a 5% accuracy boost for all attacks. Racter's drone gains +1 movement speed, moving 7 tiles per 1 AP. I think accuracy is a little bit better than speed, so we're going to go with that. Well, let's see what else he offers. Shotgun mount, rotary saw. Oh, I see. So we can do ranged or melee with him, pretty much. Well, I know there's the other guy is a melee fighter, so we're going to make this guy all about the ranged. So we'll confirm Predator. Cool deal. Alright guys, well, we got Racter. I did not expect to grab him so early. But in the next episode, we'll use the mission computer, see what jobs are available, and talk to the rest of the crew. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you liked the episode, go ahead and click like down below, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help, and we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.